I hadn't really clued it in my mind that it had been that long. Like the last PlayStation showcase I watched with Maddie in his office in New York.
Oh, dude, I remember that.
That's so fun. That's a fun memory.
Blew up at the KOTOR announcement.
Yeah.
And you were just kind of sitting there like, yay.
Yeah. I was like, I guess this is fine. I think I knew in my soul that was just not going to happen. Which I was totally right about. But yeah, I don't know. I look, I'm going to go with the one that I'm most excited about and most curious about, which is obviously Spider-Man 2. I can't imagine that this won't be there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be there.
It seems like it's on track. We had the voice actor kind of leak the fact that like he's going on a press tour in August. So like I think it's pretty safe to say that that's going to be there. What I'm most curious about specifically with Spider-Man is how different it will be, if at all. Because there's a pretty good argument to be made. It's like, why, what's the adage? Don't fix what isn't broken.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man isn't broken at all. Spider-Man is arguably as good as it needs to be. I would like maybe a little bit more involved physics-based swinging. That'd be cool. Like, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what goes on, but I would love a deep dive into that.
Let's talk about the date for a second.
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Starfield, September 6th. The ballsy move. The same day. That's a Wednesday, which isn't traditional for Sony.
Yeah, Friday would be a traditional day.
The balls to the wall move, September 1st.
I think the even ballsier move would be the 8th, just to like let them come out and then just immediately come out on top of them. But I don't think they give a shit. I heard that the date might be the 29th, which I think would be interesting, but we'll find out one way or the other. I have no clue.
The big points for me, first of all, is that they made clear that there's an emphasis on PlayStation VR 2, and boy, does it need it, because that launch was, we'll say mixed. I think that's the fairest way to put it, is that it was a little mixed, and now it's just been really, really quiet, and people are looking for justifications on why they bought the hardware, and also if they should buy it. It needs a shot in the arm right now very badly. So I'm excited that was officially part of the announcement of the showcase. And then, Colin, you're really right in that anything really could happen. I wonder what kind of third-party stuff could also be included. Maybe it's our first look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now that the marketing for Final Fantasy 16 is nearly complete, maybe it's time to get people to start thinking about the next thing. Kingdom Hearts 4 also could be something that we could see as well if we're looking at Square Enix and their new kind of their new secret relationship, it feels like, with Sony and stuff like that. So I would expect them to show up in one way or another. But there's a bunch of studios that we haven't heard from for a long time. Sucker Punch, we haven't heard from Blue Point in a long time. So I just wonder, with how long it's been, should we have our hype level to thinking about, that the mythical, what was it, E3 2014, the one where they announced Final Fantasy VII Remake? There was a few that they had that were just absolutely incredible, where it was just multiple amazing announcements. And it feels like that's what we could get right now based on how the stars are aligned with their studios.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll also say too, like, it would be a baller move for me.
Yeah.
If there's some presence from Bungie that is not Destiny.
Ooh.
That'd be sick. Love it. Naughty Dog, Factions, I think, is a given, which is fucking exciting, because I really don't think we know one way or the other. I think there are assumptions being made about this game that are incorrect. Like, I think that people aren't seeing this as what I think it will be, which is a $70 standalone. I think people are looking at this as like maybe a free-to-play game, or I'm like, I don't think so. I think this game's going to have its own story. It takes place in San Francisco. It looks like it's going to be like its own thing. And maybe it's obviously going to be multiplayer, maybe very rote in that way, but I think people are looking at it wrong, and I think we're going to find out one way or the other. As Chris said, Spider-Man 2, that's a given. And then there are a few others that I think will probably be there almost certainly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Helldivers 2 is there. That game has been teased for years. The trailer for that game leaked a long time ago. It's been ready, I think, in some way to show for some time. And I think that could even be a game that comes out this summer. And I don't want to put this as a likelihood, but you could imagine Helldivers 2 being even a stealth drop. Being like, here it is.
Yeah.
You know, just because it seems like Arrowhead's been working on it for so long. Helldivers is old. It's almost 10 years old. So I think that could be there. Andy Robinson, friend of the show, editor-in-chief of Video Games Chronicle, is clearly teasing Metal Gear as him knowing Metal Gear is going to be there. I think Konami and Sony are in bed with each other, and I think Metal Gear Solid 3 will probably be there as well. Maybe Castlevania or something like that, which I would fucking lose it if they did a AAA Castlevania game. I would lose even more if they did an old school Castlevania game, but we have to be picky here. Sucker Punch, I think, is maybe more likely than not. Ghost of Tsushima 2, you would imagine, is a 2024 game. So maybe it's time to go on that. And I'm trying to think of like others. Guerrilla's really all in on Horizon. I don't know that there's much more to say there. Media Molecule seems to be kind of all fucked up. Maybe Fire Sprite and Twisted Metal.
Maybe.
And then as far as third parties, yeah, like you're saying, Square. Now the big Square game that I want to call it is Final Fantasy IX Remake. This seems to be real. You know,
and wasn't that in the was that one of the leaks?
Yeah, it's in the NVIDIA leak. So is Final Fantasy Tactics Remake or Remaster, which would be different. Maybe one of those appears too. And it's worth noting, I was going to talk about it in the news, but it's really not a huge piece of news for you guys or anyone else really, but Front Mission Remake is coming to PS4. That was a Switch exclusive. So these games keep migrating off of Switch. And really are certainly reaffirming the Square Enix aura around Sony, which is interesting. They'll still, of course, stay with Nintendo as well. And by the way, I'm amped because I fucking love Front Mission. Oh, Front Mission's so good. So good. Very hard. Very, very hard, but very, very good. So I think that the possibilities are endless. It's going to be a true showcase showdown because Xbox goes, I think, actually Sony's preempting them, right?
Yeah, by a bit. Xbox is on June 11th, I think, right?
Yeah, so there's some confidence in that, I think.
Yeah.
If I were them, I would have been like, there's no reason for us to go first, personally. So I think that there that is some boldness, and there are rumors going around. I don't know who to trust. These things just kind of bandy around, but that like Jim Ryan is basically, you know, the instruction from the C-suite at Sony is to kind of go balls to the wall, like pedal down and go for mind share and all these kinds of things. So it could just be an attempt to do that they're just not too worried.
Morale is at an all-time low for Xbox. And with announcements, people forget things very quickly. And so announcing something now when Xbox morale is low, before there's a chance for Xbox to reinvigorate people, that sounds like a sound strategy. If someone's still thinking about what consoles to buy, or maybe if you have an Xbox and you're thinking the grass is greener somewhere else, hit with an awesome showcase before they have time to think about Starfield or what's coming next to Xbox. Seems a sound strategy to me, but yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
It definitely is a sound strategy if you believe that they have the goods, which I would assume they would, because a lot of people are like, well, what's the expectation? My expectations are very high. But you've gone too long. Like you can't not talk for so long and then not have high expectations. That's insane. So my expectations are very high, and I hope they meet them. I'm not going to be like disenchanted if they don't, but my expectations are high.